can you imagine how politically charged is it?
Yeah.
Like if you see let's say there's a buffet and you really want like, I don't know, the lamb roast at that station or something, but you are coming from, I don't know, US, but the whole Chinese delegation is there.
Yeah.
You gonna queue up, man?
No. But do you think that they cared about that? Like, do you think they brought him to go and eat Newton Hawker Centre?
Do teh tarik.
Go and make teh tarik and then, Before the next episode of the Yalabat podcast, here's a message from Folklory, our audio startup where we turn your stories and memories into personal podcasts. Father's Day is coming up in 2 weeks, and if you're a dad yourself, how about doing something special for the kids? By recording your life story so they'll be able to listen to it in the future. We'll make it super easy. Once you order your Folklory, we'll schedule a remote recording with you, kind of like a Zoom call. We'll ask you about your life story, your thoughts on your children, and your hopes for them. Basically, stuff you want them to keep in their hearts forever. All we'll need is 45 minutes, and you don't need to prep anything because we'll be the ones asking all the questions. And we'll get you the finished Folklory within 2 weeks of your recording. So complete your order at folklory.com by 7th June to guarantee a recording slot around Father's Day. The link's in the show notes, and don't wait any longer. And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
With good old humor, Harish.
I appreciate the effort, Terrence.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like right now you're drinking what, Longan?
Yeah, right.
Why?
I'm on day 3 of like trying to quit caffeine lah. So, as far as I know, these withdrawal symptoms I'm having, like extreme fatigue and general cloudiness in the brain, will last for a week now. So now I'm only on day 3 now.
Yeah.
So I think I think you were complaining that my intro was subpar.
Yeah, the last episode. Yeah.
So I decided to ham it up a bit more.
Yeah, thanks,
do it in your style.
Yeah, thanks, man. The last episode, certain points I was like, "Wow, Terrence, come on, we have to play off each other, Terrence."
Yeah. But that's the thing. If I'm super energetic like you, it's unlistenable, this podcast. Where it's like two people just like ranting and shouting at each other.
Can you clarify that 2 of any similar types is unlistenable?
Correct.
Right. So it's the juxtaposition.
Yeah, it's like magnets are north and south pole. You can't have
magnets.
Magnets. You can't have like the similar poles.
Oh yeah. Correct. Yeah.
So it's okay. I think it's okay. I don't know why.
Because the last
panties in a bunch.
The last episode, certain things I said, I think I didn't feel like the standard Terrence pushback.
Yeah.
You were agreeing with me too much.
Oh, I was agreeing with you too much. You wanted the contrarian.
I wanted the pushback.
Okay. Don't worry. But this week we'll have a lot of contrarian views. Yeah.
But this week, exciting week because we are leading up to our live show at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Which is sold out. Pretty excited about that.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of we're going to be doing a lot of exciting things during a live show, right?
Yeah.
Which we cannot reveal.
As
yet.
Yeah. But only for the select few who got the tickets. I mean, the episode will come out the following week.
Yeah.
Right. So all those who didn't get a chance, you can listen to it. Hopefully, the next time we have an event, you'll get your tickets.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, how's your weekend, man?
The weather was amazing, man.
The weather was great.
This was like sleep-in weather.
Yeah.
I imagined that it would have been great sleeping in, but I didn't sleep in because got a kid and everything. But it was just that the sweet spot.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Not too hot, and it was just like constantly raining or drizzling.
Yeah,
the winds were nice and cool.
Yeah, and just like the gray weather. I like the gray weather. Gray, no like burning sun.
With a few pockets of sunshine where you can go for a walk or whatever, run your errands, then you come home, then it starts pouring.
It was wonderful.
Great.
But now every time it's like that, I know that in the next few days it's just going to be hot as shit. And then it'll hit you harder because you just experienced this, your defense has been weakened, and then boom, the sun hits you in the face.
And it was perfect because on Friday, we were going for a meeting and somehow you routed us in the longest possible route to walk under the sun to get to the meeting. I don't know why, because there was an MRT right next to where we were supposed to go.
I apologize.
And there I was in my half like caffeine free state, like trying to like get through the day, and then like you like brought me on a 20-minute walk under the sun. Like,
wait, we had to take a drink break.
Stop. Yeah. We literally stopped for drinks in the middle while walking to a meeting.
Basically, we should have gone to Tanjong Pagar MRT. It showed that the closest MRT was, what did we get off? Chinatown.
Yeah.
So in here we walked for about I think 20 minutes.
Yeah, under the sun, no shade kind of thing.
So that one I accept.
But it was interesting because it made me realize that, Singapore is unlivable without like a good public transport system and shade around between buildings and stuff. It's unlivable.
Yeah.
It's unlivable.
Yeah.
You faint. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, plus, we were both carrying backpacks also. So then the sweat builds up at the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so enjoy this weather while it lasts.
Yeah. And then the juxtaposition, right after that, we went into a meeting room that was like freezing cold.
as shit.
I felt like I went for like a hot sauna and then I jumped in an ice bath like right after like that.
Yeah. But thankfully, by the time we came out, the sun had gone down and it was more comfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
But for you, how was the weekend?
Oh, good. Enjoyed it as well. Like that sort of weather. Because I think it rained through the night. And waking up to the pitter-patter, right? Fucking, this is the best thing ever. Yeah, just the pitter-patter on the windowsills. Good time.
Mine is I wake up to the pitter-patter of footsteps to my bed and my kid climbs in and wakes us up at like 6:30 in the morning. Oh, God. Okay.
Every morning.
I mean, generally he wakes up before sunrise already. Yeah.
Oh,
is the thing. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, objectively it's not that bad, right?
Yeah.
Sunrise, it's good for you to wake up around sunrise, supposedly. Yeah.
I mean, right now I am a kind of a morning person, so I try to wake up early. But yeah.
But it's difficult because now it's also like Champions League season. There's Roland Garros going on, so all these like big matches and football matches and all that, all taking place like in the wee hours of the morning. So
actually, the next few months, like there's the Olympics.
The Euros.
Roland Garros. Is this going to be Wimbledon also? Oh.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Wimbledon, then the Olympics, then Euros. Then elections.
Yeah, that one might be later.
Later.
I think the new piece of information everyone got over the weekend was Pritam Singh's trial is in October/November. Yeah. So I think it kind of pushes the timeline for elections back a little bit.
Because it can't be during it, right?
Nah, it wouldn't be. That'd be stranger.
Yeah, and it's almost a bit too explicitly kind of like, what do you say,
manufacturing
that conflict.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
There's a lot of, like we wanted contrarian views. There's a lot of contrarian views in the topics we're talking about today. But before all that, what do we need to tell people?
That if you enjoy this episode or this podcast in general, it would be great if you could share it with one person who has not heard of it, has not heard of us. And please follow us on every social media platform. Follow us where you're listening to right now, be it YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever. Just follow and subscribe because it tells the algorithm that our podcast is worth listening to. And what else, Terence?
And if you want to work with us, contact us on ministryoffunny.com. That's the website, ministryoffunny.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the first topic, something that's been kind of like buzzing online.
Yeah.
Actually, internationally also.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just locally. Because the Shangri-La Dialogue 2024 just happened. And it featured, like, of course, like a lot of world leaders, but one very prominent leader being the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. So I think the news came out like maybe middle of last week that he was going to be speaking.
Oh, really? I thought it was only on Friday or something.
Oh, it's only on Friday.
It was like a surprise thing. That's why it was so shocking. Yeah,
I see. Yeah. On Friday. So then, I mean, I'm sure everybody saw videos online of him, being welcomed as he got off the car at the Shangri-La hotel. But I mean, like, what's your knowledge of the Shangri-La Dialogue, sir?
I think it was started around the time of after 9/11, right? And it was meant to as like a premier conference for Asian security and military leaders to come together and talk talk openly about the bilateral relations between countries and just have a forum that's really focused on that, giving Asian countries a voice in about matters that affect the region and the world. And it's gotten quite a reputation because it manages to balance between US interests, having guests from US and also guests from China, right? And then in not so much in recent years, but Russia also was present at the conference as well. So, I mean, these are the movers and shakers of military decisions in each of their home countries. Yeah. So all of them coming together is quite a big thing. And I remember that years ago there was a someone got shot
Shooting, headshot.
outside. Because apparently a guy on drugs or something tried to drive through that space outside Shangri-La Hotel, which actually is a really tight space.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know the Shangri-La Hotel, outside there, the road is just like a small road, right?
And there were barricades.
Yeah, a
so
lot
I think
of
he
barricades.
smashed through a few barricades.
Smashed through. Apparently he had consumed and possessed drugs, and he was shot in the head, right? By a Gurkha.
By a Gurkha.
Yeah. So that was like one of the rare shootings in Singapore, right?
I think that was the first bullet that was discharged in 8 years.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah, some crazy thing.
Yeah. So I mean, the first iteration was in 2002. And back then it was a nice, in air quotes, unofficial defense summit.
Yeah.
And since then, it's expanded in its role more and more. And I mean, I never knew this was happening like in the early 2000s and the 2010s and all, because I didn't really care about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like it is a thing. It's been going on for a long time, and I mean, quite a few delegates from around the world come. And President Zelensky appearing was quite a surprise, lah. But there's been a lot of talk about what happened, and also funny how people have reacted to the clips of Zelensky, lah.
Yeah.
Right, because when he was there, he gave a address, right? He addressed, he answered questions in like a 32-minute Q&A. He delivered the address in English, but during the questions, he had a help of an interpreter, and some sound bites that came out, lah.
Yeah.
Which sound bites stuck out to you?
I think they asked him, there were some bites about the Israel-Gaza conflict and where does Ukraine stand on that. And then there were some bites. I mean, he talked a lot about China.
Yeah.
And China's role in the Russia-Ukraine war. So those couple of things stood out to me quite a bit.
Yeah, because in the role of China, I mean, he didn't say it directly, but he was kind of like hinting that China is almost like a puppet of Russia, lah.
Yeah.
Right, and he said, like despite the size of their country, Russia is using their diplomats, their foreign dignitaries, and all to kind of influence other countries. And I think what he was saying is that there's a peace summit coming up in Switzerland on the 15th and 16th of June, specifically a Ukraine peace summit, lah. And Russia has said it's not going to attend.
Yeah.
And some other countries have not yet confirmed. And President Zelensky was saying, like, for summits like that, China is trying to, behind closed doors or like out, not in the public, trying to convince other countries to not attend, lah. So I mean, there's no way of verifying that.
Yeah.
But it was quite interesting how open he was to say that when there were delegates from China.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Right in front of them, right?
Right in front of them.
Yeah.
And then with the question about Ukraine's stance on the Israel-Palestine conflict, I think his response, the person who asked was trying to kind of understand Ukraine's stance on what? On Israel's like disproportionate kind of
I think
defense.
If I recall correctly,
Yeah.
and I can be corrected, is that I think Ukraine at one point was talking about standing with Israel. I think especially in the immediate aftermath of October 7th.
Yeah.
Because they characterized what Hamas did as terrorist attacks. And for Ukraine's position was that, that was that Israel had the right to self-defense, right? But then, but I think the journalist asked a question like, okay, so what do you kind of like sort of inkling what's your position, asking what's his position now, given that, you talked about standing with Israel and then now literally, the leaders of Israel are being, there might be an arrest warrant out there for the International Criminal Court on the leaders of Israel, right, for violating international humanitarian laws. So how do you reconcile those two? And his answer was quite succinct in that you really got to look at it as two different things. My response to October 7th and subsequently, once Israel declared war and everything, like whether Israel has been following international humanitarian laws, which I thought was a good answer.
Yeah, it's basically two moments in time, right? And you cannot equate them. Because I think he even said Ukraine is willing to help with humanitarian efforts in Gaza at this point. But the way he answered also, he just answered and pumped like. I mean, from all the videos of him walking around, he was like the only one in a t-shirt. Right. I think he arrived in like a kind of a shirt.
That's the thing, he's been wearing the same like vest slack Vestlek.
Oh, that's what it's called.
No, in army, I remember army when you say, hey, come down Vestlek to clean your rifle. You can go for go canteen your Vestlek and all that.
Vestlek.
So he's made it his thing, right? Like everywhere he goes is this olive green shirt or something with uniform pants and boots, those army boots.
Yeah.
It's like it's his fashion statement now. That I think like the mainstream media has written about it before. I'm sure you can go to Uniqlo and get something equivalent and look the part also. But he's really made it his signature. Like it's almost like, hey, sorry, I'm fighting a war. Let me step away to give the speech. Then I got to go back and fight a war.
And he's never clean shaven or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why his like his public persona. I mean, like he does come across as somewhat of a badass, right?
A bit, yeah.
In some way, going to a summit like this where everybody is in neckties and shirts and jackets, him appearing like that, right?
Yeah.
He's like what you said, like, hey, yeah, I'm in the middle or something.
Yeah.
I'm just coming here to get your support and all that, but I need to, get back and deal with shit,
Yeah.
Which is insane, And given his backstory, he entered politics late. Right, he was known for being a comedian, but then before that he was a lawyer.
Yeah.
Right, so he acted in a TV series about him as a comedian becoming president.
Yeah.
But to see now, and it's more than 2 years since the first strike, February 2022.
Yeah.
Which is insane, But one thing that we were talking about before is about, I mean, all these clips were videos shared online, right?
Yeah.
But the comments a little peculiar.
Yeah.
Like what stood out? What stood out for you?
Not just from this one, even from the last time we spoke about him, I think on our podcast, there already comments were very, calling him a clown and everything, saying that, Ukraine was the one who instigated this conflict with Russia by allowing, agreeing to join NATO or like letting NATO come too close to Russia and things like that. So it's very clear that there's a lot of propaganda out there about Ukraine's role in starting the war, or it could be the presence of bots, right? State-sponsored bots are probably doing this, because you see that repeated again this time in a lot of the comments on videos and stuff like that about his appearance in Singapore. Yeah,
and I mean, like that the thing, that narrative you said about how is the expansion of NATO into Ukraine that started the war. Literally at this conference, there was a question that was posed to the US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin by a Chinese delegate who spoke about, the situation in Asia. And he literally said, knowing that the expansion of NATO has led to the Ukraine crisis, I think the question was whether the US is planning to set up something like NATO in Asia Pacific.
Yeah.
And then he said, as we all know, the expansion of NATO led to the Ukraine crisis. But then the US Defense Secretary pushed back. But it's interesting because that narrative, I mean, it's something we have spoken about also, right? The influence of the CCP or Chinese propaganda on Singaporeans.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, a lot of comments could be bots. But they could also be people.
Yeah. I have met people who have bought into that rhetoric.
And what is that rhetoric again?
That, basically, Russia as an entity, has historical ties with the land of Ukraine, the people of Ukraine. And NATO or Ukraine joining NATO or being seduced to join NATO kind of brings NATO's influence too close to Russia, such that Russia needs to clamp down, put its foot down and say, no, you cannot go any further, But I mean, I think that's to me, fundamentally, that's just a bit dangerous, because when you talk about history and all these things, then it's you're sort of appealing to people's nativist instincts already, right? Because you think about history, then where does the history of Singapore really start, right? We are part of a larger Malaya and everything. Then by right, should we be part of Malaya? You can't think like that, right? At the end of the day, I think a lot of what Zelensky was saying is that the rule of law has to apply. It doesn't matter history or what you feel you're threatened by. At the end of the day, Ukraine is its own independent state and it needs to be able to make its own independent decisions without threat of I'm offending my neighbor or anything like that. Which is the same, and I think it's very relevant for Singapore because we're in that same boat also, right? We're so small. anything that happens, like people burn stuff in their country, the cloud also will come over Singapore and then cause haze here and things like that, right? But literally, does that mean that we're under that cloud of influence? No, right?
So these people that you say what sort of like demographic or what sort of instance do you end up talking to them about this whole kind of Ukraine-Russia conflict over dinner?
No, I think a lot of WhatsApp groups.
Oh.
Yeah, generally older folks, also boomers and all that.
Because the thing is like what you said, right? Like if for some reason people buy into the narrative that okay, Russia has the right to invade, then yeah, as Singapore, like that's the issue. Because in the comments also I saw some people saying, why is this guy in Singapore? Like the Shangri-La Dialogue supposed to focus on Asian stuff.
Yeah.
Why is our own senior minister Ng En Han saying we stand with Ukraine?
Yeah.
Because it's fucking relevant to us.
Yeah.
So it's weird seeing the comments, but yeah, also understanding that there's a shit ton of bots that could be in the mix.
Yeah.
Like some comments even saying, he looks like he put on weight. Is he really fighting a war?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he flew here on a private jet, right?
Yeah.
And but I think there were articles before about how much security he needs to be escorted with, or what kind of like routes he has to travel out to travel out Ukraine, right? He has to take a train across the border, then secretly go to some private jet, some hangar somewhere to board the plane and everything.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's willy-nilly just fly anywhere he wants to on SQ business
like Kim
class.
Kardashian or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Enjoying business class. I mean, of course, he's not on the front lines fighting the war, right?
Yeah.
But that's not his job. His job is to go around the world, negotiate diplomatic solutions for the various struggles that Ukraine has. And I think in that sense, he's doing it.
He has to.
Amazing job, right? I mean, he's almost like the Taylor Swift of global geopolitics now. He come here only the buzz around the area. Hey, Zelensky coming, Zelensky
come out of the car, everyone just around him.
Cameras screaming his name, all that. The last time this happened with Kim Jong-un also.
Yeah.
Then a lot of people got criticized for it, right? Take selfie, if you remember.
Yeah.
Vivian Balakrishnan, I think, took a selfie with Kim Jong-un.
True, Kim Jong-un. Oh, yeah.
But this one is almost like, it's hard to say. You can't, how can you criticize this guy? This is a wartime president, right?
Yeah.
In the middle of fighting a war, is able to take not is able, but it still goes out of his way to come to other places to, seek diplomatic solutions for this crisis.
Yeah, because I mean, he met Taman, he met Lawrence Wong, and he met Singaporean investors.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, why is he meeting Singaporean investors? But because he also wants to, I mean, it was quoted that he, even told them about incentives for trade and all.
Yeah.
I assume that would be, I mean, like his point was that Ukraine still has to go on. Yes, there's a war.
Yeah.
But as a country, it can't all come to a standstill.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, fuck, like that. Like to even be able to have those sort of discussions.
Yeah.
Because Singapore signed a air deal with Ukraine.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure for like how that is possible, but it has to be something for the future, because now Ukraine airspace is kind of locked down, right?
Yeah.
So I saw some people on Reddit saying like, is this a sick joke by Singapore? Let's do an air deal. Then now, but I mean, there are Singaporean businesses that are involved in Ukraine, and I remember a few months ago or like last year, the eggs I bought from my mama shop downstairs came from Ukraine.
Oh, is it? How you know they came from Ukraine? It's written there. It's written there. Oh, it's made in Ukraine.
I mean, produced in Ukraine or something like that.
Ukrainian chickens.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Ukrainian eggs.
Why must go all the way to Ukraine?
I have no idea.
Oh, interesting.
And it was at my mama's shop. It's not some atas grocer or something.
Yeah.
It was eggs from Ukraine.
Yeah. No, and I also know a lot of tech companies, they outsource tech development to Ukrainian programmers.
Yeah.
Lower cost, right? And they're still very highly skilled. I know there's one camera company that does rehousing of vintage lenses called Iron Glass. So they rehouse old vintage glasses into cinema lenses that one set of which were used on the recent Dune movie, to shoot the Dune movie. So yeah, what I'm saying is that Ukraine has a wide range of craftsmen, tech people and all that who have business dealings with the rest of the world. So it's important that the face of the country right now goes around and sort of be ambassador for them.
Yeah. And I mean, I just did a quick Google. It was in 2019 when Ukrainian eggs started being sold in Singapore.
Awesome.
Uh,
Diversifying our
exactly.
supply chain.
So, like, this came out May 2022.
Yeah.
So, since June 2019, so over less than a year, 4.6 million eggs have been imported from Ukraine.
Yeah.
So, probably you have also eaten eggs from Ukraine.
Correct. Yeah.
Holy shit.
But what do you think? Like, I mean, when he came here, he also spoke a lot about China's influence, right, on other countries in the region, because they're doing that global peace summit thing in Switzerland, and China's not coming.
Yeah.
But he said, he alleged that China was also trying to influence other countries into not coming for that conference. What do you feel about all that?
I mean, can imagine it lah. But it's totally hard to verify. But just interesting that, because this whole dialogue thing, like, even when he sat down opposite Taman, if you look at or Lawrence Wong, when you zoom out, there's him and like Taman or Lawrence Wong on two like chairs, and then everyone else sitting down the row.
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking, like, what do they actually talk about? But how much can they go into detail about the really hardcore stuff? You just hear photos being taken and all. So this whole thing, it is really like a diplomatic summit. So even in this case, when he was saying that, you can tell that there is a lot of like passive aggression there, especially with the Chinese delegates in the audience.
Yeah.
But so I think it's one of those things that you can imagine it lah.
Yeah.
But you just can't verify it lah.
And they did not meet the Chinese delegates. And Ukrainian delegates here. So I think one of these, a lot of times these conferences that we've been to, half of it is about, all the talks and the big speeches and all that. But the other half is just meeting people, right? And that's actually where real business deals happen and all that, right?
Yeah.
So I can imagine the same case here, where, there's the talk. But after that, it's like, people, I want to meet with him, I want to meet with that guy, that kind of thing. But it depends on your schedule. Like the Chinese people are like, I'm too busy to meet with you. Then it won't happen.
I think our marketing conference is a bit different from the Shangri-La.
Of course. Very different.
I don't think they all line up for a buffet outside.
Not line up, we speed run to the buffet. I remember I speed run to the buffet.
We camped out. I think, me and Dom were outside, and then we were like strategically kind of like lining up. But I'm guessing this one is can you imagine how politically charged is it?
Yeah.
Like if you see let's say there's a buffet and you really want the lamb roast at that station or something, but you are coming from, US.
Yeah.
But the whole Chinese delegation is there.
Yeah.
You gonna queue up, man?
No. But do you think that they cared about that? Like, do you think they brought him to go and eat Newton Hawker Center?
Do teh tarik.
Go and make teh tarik and then,
I think that's why he came in a private jet lah, because he can just land, go to his thing, come and get back to business.
Yeah. There were some road closures around the civic district area, like the National Gallery and all that over the weekend. I'm not sure if it's related to Zelensky going around, but I can imagine. I mean, he had to go to Istana, right? So if you think about the route from the Istana to Shangri-La, that's around Plaza Sing, the area, then have to travel around the Shangri-La, the Orange Grove Road. Definitely there will have been some road closures, but I don't know whether he can. Along the way, there's anywhere he could stop over to have a prata or something.
There's a Ukrainian restaurant in Singapore.
Why do you go to a Ukrainian restaurant? He's like in the middle of a war and he's probably eating Ukrainian food all the time already. Yeah.
I mean, just to
show support.
Yeah, to meet fellow Ukrainians. I don't think he came to Singapore for the food okay.
But you have to host him. He needs to eat a meal when he's here, right? So
but you're saying there's a dinner that he's hosted by, but maybe he wanted to stop by, right?
Oh, yeah.
You think about it, if we are in the middle of some shit in our country, we go to another country, it'd be nice to stop by a Singaporean place.
Yeah, just for the optics of it.
Yeah.
But you mean you wouldn't want to try what is famous locally or something, man? Like go and try out the Yakun Kaya toast or something.
Oh, why not? Why not?
But that would be a negative. Imagine you wear your army fatigues or then you go Yakun Kaya toast and then you're shown eating Kaya toast in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
And people be like, what the hell? You're wasting your time being a tourist.
Unless he says the green from the Kaya is the green.
It's a bit of a stretch. Unless maybe Yakun invest in set up something in Ukraine or
I think there can't be any showiness to whatever he eats and all.
Yeah, I think so.
I think his whole demeanor, right, is very kind of just get to the point.
Yeah.
He was very clear about why he came, which is to get support from countries in Asia, and let them know that their voices count. Because it feels like, they are making efforts to, establish a peace deal. Of course, he has his own fair share of critics, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it was just interesting because yeah, like you said, they only announced it on Friday that he was coming.
Yeah.
I guess you can't announce it ahead of time, right? He's not.
In fact, it wasn't really announced. It was like sort of like rumored.
Rumored.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Because I was quite excited about it. There was a little. They felt like, oh, there's gonna be a little bit of buzz around Singapore.
Oh, but Singapore really attracting all sorts of events and global leaders and global icons and all.
That's the dream, isn't it? That
That's the dream, man.
That Tong Tong put out. Yeah, that we attract religious leaders, musicians, political leaders. What else?
I mean, in the next few months coming up, like there's Take That.
Yeah.
There's Trevor Noah this week.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld, Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
The Pope.
Tom York from Radiohead.
Yeah. Recently announced Tom York. The Pope.
Yeah. Big. Yeah. But it's quite something, quite cool, I was supposed to have him here. Whether or not you agree with on which side of history.
Whether cool is the best word to use, lah.
True. But it's okay, lah. I mean, it's an event, lah. But do you think more politicians should do what he does? Like they should dress like what their portfolio is supposed to be. And then so that it looks like they are like very focused on their job all the time. So if you're like I don't know, Ministry of Environment or what, then you should be like wearing green all the time, or like
then like during the ride out case, Vivian Balakrishnan and someone come in black and white.
But that one is their personal life. I'm talking about that.
But it was still discussing in Parliament.
Correct, but with their personal life. But that's about their personal life. I'm saying more related to their direct portfolio of work. Like maybe Vivian Balakrishnan should be wearing like the SQ
batik.
The batik lah. It's a shirt or something lah. That's what I'm saying. That's like foreign affairs, right? Ministry of Transport. What will he be wearing? Minister of Transport.
A big cap lah.
Huh?
Like the captain's hat.
Oh, captain. Yeah.
Captain's hat.
Do you think that will fly? It will make you look more like and then obviously the army.
I think that'll be great because you imagine you go to Parliament.
Yeah, everyone.
It's like Halloween. That would be so damn cool, man.
Yeah.
Then Minister of Law can be wearing the judges. That wig.
Yeah. Everything.
Oh fuck, that'd be dope, man. You won't forget what portfolio they have.
Correct. It'll be iconic, lah.
It'll be iconic.
Yeah. Minister of I mean Edwin Tong wearing like Taylor Swift wristbands and all that.
Oh yeah.
Culture, community and youth.
Then Minister of Health in surgical garb and all.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be great, man.
I think that's a great idea.
There's another one for the books.
Yeah.
Another one for the books, guys.
But yeah.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Cool.
But yeah, we're discussing about foreign influence in Singapore or in Asia and everything. And there's another individual who had a lot of influence on Singapore and on a lot of places in Asia. But his appearance here in recent times has not been celebrated universally, like that. Very controversial also. And who is this person of influence?
It is the Sir Stamford Raffles. And why he has come up in the news again is because there has been a third public statue of him at Fort Canning Park that was unveiled on 21st May.
Yeah.
It's basically Sir Stamford Raffles and Dr. Nathaniel Woolwich.
Yep.
So it has caused some debate online about different things like whether or not we need another statue of Sir Stamford Raffles. How did the statue end up at Fort Canning Park in the first place?
Yeah.
And are there other people we should be making statues of? But I mean, like, where are the other two? There's one outside Asian Civilization Museum. And one more.
That's a good question. I can't remember. Where? Oh, isn't it outside the UOB Plaza there?
Outside the UOB Plaza?
Yeah.
I mean the CBD there?
Yeah.
Oh, there's one there?
One at North Bank, which is, I believe it's
Oh, that's the one outside UOB Plaza. So near McDonald's.
Yeah. Correct. CBD there. Yeah. That's right. And then the other one is at the Empress Place, which is at the ACM, outside the ACM there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, okay, so the context of Dr. Nathaniel Woolwich, so apparently both Sir Stamford Raffles and Nathaniel Wallich set up the first botanical and experimental garden in Singapore in 1822. And these two sculptures were paid for in full by the alumni of the University of East Anglia in the United Kingdom. And they then commissioned a Wales-based sculptor, Andrew Lacey. And the cost was apparently quoted to be as much as a cheap Porsche. So not cheap, but basically like
a cheap Porsche, right?
Porsche.
How to
Porsche.
pronounce it? Porsche or Porsche? Huh?
Porsche.
Yeah.
Porsche. Okay.
Maybe the rich people laugh at you. Right?
They obviously know I don't own a Porsche.
Yeah. Porsche. God damn it.
Porsche. But so Porsche. What was I saying?
Porsche.
Terrence, then what else did I say? Do you even remember what I said?
Yeah, about them, the university alumni saying that it costs as much as the sculpture costs as much as a cheap Porsche.
Yeah, a cheap Porsche.
Yeah.
Okay, a cheap Porsche.
Yeah.
So some people have commented back. Well-known Singapore poet Gwee Lee Sui just asked, pointed out that around the world, other countries, I mean, we've heard so many cases, right, of other countries kind of pulling down statues of the colonialists in their country. But in Singapore, we are putting it up.
Yeah.
Then, who else? So, the Dr. Tan Kiwi, whose family estate donated the two bronzes. So I guess he is one of those alumni. Because they said whose family estate. I don't think he was the only one. Or was he the only one? According to the chapter, he might be one of the only ones. He said, so I mean, his comment's a bit funny. So his family estate donated the two sculptures. He said that the University of East Anglia gave him a scholarship to do his doctorate.
Yeah.
And many of his peers have had lovely experiences in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
So then he has this one quote where he says, colonialism in many other countries was quite bad, but in Singapore it was okay. I'm not sure that the Malay kings did anything for us, whereas Raffles town planning still has its impact to this day.
Yeah.
So when he said that, I'm like, huh? Really? I mean, yes, like the impact of to this day is still there. But with this context and all, right? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think people must remember that the NEA was also involved in approving the location and just having this around, right? The sculpture around. So I don't expect any particular individual's understanding of the historical context of everything that they're doing to be 100% perfect. At the end of the day, that guy is not a historian, right? The guy who donated the sculpture. But I'm quite surprised that the institutions in charge of this did not. It's National Parks Board, is it?
Yeah,
not any. Yeah, I'm just quite surprised that the National Parks Board didn't think about the larger context of, should we be putting up another statue of someone from the colonial era? Because it's not like we don't have enough, right? Like we already have two statues of Stamford Raffles around. There's a school named after him. There's like MRT and whole places named after him and all that. But having yet another statue when there's when the idea of forward Singapore in these days is to how do we build the new modern Singapore identity, right? Another statue commemorating our colonial past masters, the masters from our colonial past, kind of seems a bit backdated, if not. I don't think it's offensive or anything, but it's very outdated kind of mode of thinking, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering why the institution could actually approve this,
Yeah, because I mean, okay, so growing up, I always knew of Sir Stamford Raffles as the founder of Singapore.
Modern Singapore.
But I mean, back then, was there any clarification?
You never call it Singapore.
Yeah, like primary school, secondary school and all. But over the past few years, I guess people have there's been a bit more criticism, essentially because he was still a colonial master, right? Whichever way you look at it. I'm not so sure off the top of my head what other criticisms or specific things he has done.
But anyone from that era, they dabbled in a lot of things that today you'd be like, no fucking way, slavery, exploitation of people, overworking them to death and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So their past is checkered, right? To say the least.
And plus, I mean, like when you say founder of modern day Singapore, like for most people, I mean, growing up, the narrative was he's the founder of Singapore. Which, as you get older, you realize, wait, why the fuck did he found Singapore? Like there were people living here before.
Yeah.
So it has that kind of like, okay, like he came and just founded it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also found it weird, like why another statue? And if it was just a donor in a private estate, sure. But this is in Fort Canning. And I mean, like it doesn't help also that the sculptor is also like from
British,
Wales, like British.
Yeah.
And for the person to be quoted as saying, you know, I think their colonial era was okay lah, was benevolent lah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like there's so much else to be proud of in Singapore. So many icons of Singapore. Why Sir Stamford Raffles?
Yeah. I think and that's the thing lah. Some people are saying ultimately the big difference here is that Singapore did not turn out as badly as a lot of other British colonies lah, right? In terms of what the local population was subject to lah, right?
Yeah.
But that does not I think that does not mean that the whole era of the British Empire and colonialism should be looked at with rosy-eyed glasses lah, right?
Yeah.
We're just lucky that we didn't have a lot of resources that they wanted to pillage out of Singapore. We did not have that. That was the truth. We did not have those resources. We just had a pretty good location and everything, right?
Yeah.
Because if we had all those other resources, maybe they were like, really burn the shit down, burn the whole place down to take over, right?
Yeah.
So we're lucky in that way, but we should not take that as an excuse to celebrate our colonial heritage. Like it was a very lucky thing that happened to us,
Yeah. That's why even like what Tommy Koh, ambassador at large, Professor Tommy Koh, his point. I mean, he has no issues with it, and he said, this proves that Singapore is confident enough about our identity and achievements that it sees no reason to deny history. And then he says, Singapore is contrarian. Other countries, they take down colonial era statues or monuments, they change the names of streets and places, which we know. Like even Bombay and Mumbai and all that.
Yeah.
We don't do that. I like to be a contrarian. But to me, that doesn't make sense. Because by not putting it up, you're not denying history.
Exactly.
We have not taken down any Raffles statue.
Yeah.
Like what you said, we have so many institutions with his name on it.
Yeah.
The question is, why put up another one?
When we have so many more in our even recent history, or not even recent history, right? Like I think that online there were some examples. Why don't you put up a statue of Agnes Joachim, for example, who discovered a new species of orchids, created a new species of orchids in Singapore, Singapore born and bred, right? Why don't we celebrate people like her if you really want to celebrate our botanical history and everything, right? Rather than hark back to like 1819 and everything and the whole narrative of Singapore fishing village joining the modern world. So I agree with you that you don't have to tear down what is already there, but if you are thinking about putting up new statues and all that, I think I would have placed it at the national parks level, right? To think carefully about what you want to celebrate. And like you said, getting a British artist to do it. Nothing against British artists, but I think even like recently we discussed about the portraits of the king and the portrait of Kate, Princess Kate, right, being commissioned.
Yeah.
At least they found like a more interesting in terms of ethnic demographic of artists, right, to create like Princess Kate's portrait, right? She's I think I can't remember what's her ethnicity and heritage and everything, but it's something different, right? What you wouldn't expect someone who's doing a royal portrait, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't an official commissioned portrait, but it was commissioned by Tatler also, which is that uppity magazine itself. And even they are seem a bit more progressive about it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this one just feels outright like, let's go back to the original British overlords and have some commission an artist from there to create something in Singapore and just plant it in the middle of Fort Canning Park.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's not a new sentiment that has been up and about, right? Like the fact that there are this aspect of history which is just very whitewashed, like literally. And the fact that, you brought up NParks, apparently during the Singapore bicentennial in 2019, which like the government had a lot of things to do with it, right?
Yeah.
There were 4 sculptures of Sang Nila Utama, Tan Tock Seng, Munshi Abdullah, and Narayana Pillai that were placed next to Sir Stamford Raffles at the Singapore River.
Yeah.
And it literally was the goal to present a more nuanced view of history. But after the event, the 4 statues were taken down.
Yeah. I saw those statues. I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it feels like, okay, this is a national event, and where it was already recognizing the need for a more nuanced view of history. Right? So I don't think there's a Sang Nila statue anywhere, Sang Nila Utama statue in Singapore, or at least I couldn't Google it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was already recognized back in 2019 that our history right now is very, very one-sided. Why the hell? So this feels like someone or a family estate that had always wanted to make a Sir Stamford Raffles statue in Singapore as their gift of Singapore.
Yeah.
Didn't keep up with the times.
Yeah.
Told the uni, who of course would love to have it, and this sculpture, who of course, I mean, if he's getting a budget that big, why not? And then just have it there lah.
Yeah.
But it feels like damn outdated lah.
Yeah. But yeah, so, and that's why I felt that it's actually on NParks to step in and say, hey, maybe this is not the best idea or what lah. But then some people are saying, it's just your wokesters making noise about all these things. But I always feel that it's you like Tommy Koh, you talk about being confident in our identity, but the truth is we are not right. I think 90% of Singaporeans will tell you what is the Singapore identity. We're still grappling with it, still trying to struggle with it as a society, and it's a bit presumptuous to say like we're so confident in our identity we don't worry about it.
And no one says like, no, Raffles didn't found Singapore.
Yeah.
No one, you don't get like protests against that. We're not denying it, the history like.
Yeah, it's just that you don't need another monument about it, right?
Yeah, and then this article in Straits Times, they literally say in the last line, though most people in Singapore are unlikely to care about yet another figurative bronze sculpture. It's like, no, people will care.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, the more we talk about it, the more annoying it is.
Yeah. They should take a page from last time, in 2019, Singapore Pro Wrestling had a character, this is a Singapore version, a very indie run promotion of WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment, where they had a female character. She was a blonde, white female character from the UK called the Colonizer. And then she used to wear those like
the
colonialist master uniforms. And then she would wrestle in those matches that way, you see.
The Colonizer.
Yeah. So I don't think that she's actually doing it anymore, as far as I can tell. But yeah, she wrestled a couple matches in Singapore, and it was hilarious because it was I think she was playing the parody of exactly what we're talking about, right? Colonial masters stepping foot in Singapore. And she did videos of herself trying prata and things like that. And like, and yeah, it was
2019 also.
Yeah, 2019 also, yeah. But yeah, it's if you want to do something from that era or that, I think can have a bit more creativity and fun with it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I mean, I'm surprised that there hasn't been more debate about it, because it was unveiled on 21st May.
Yeah. And Neil Humphreys about a day ago.
Oh, he posted
something on Facebook about it, and and he's also quite critical about the whole thing, about why are we glorifying this elitist institution, and given that is Neil Humphreys himself, right? It's not like a Chinese Singaporean person complaining about it. It tells you something, right? That even they themselves also, they meaning people with roots in UK and everything, don't exactly look back at a lot of these colonial masters as like examples. Examples, bastions of the United Kingdom that we need to propagate around the world.
Now the Commonwealth Games also not the most. Exactly, not the most it just comes with this weight, right?
I'm sure Shanmugam will have something to say about all this also.
Or the British commentariat class. Yeah, where is the British commentariat class?
Yeah.
But yeah. Cool, man.
But yeah, so a lot of comments. But just looking at Yalabat comments, is there anything that has made you feel shook recently?
Well, I mean, there was a post that was shared that was taken off Instagram.
Yeah.
My wife's Instagram, where we posted over the weekend. And I mean, since it's out on the Reddit, it's out in public. My wife is expecting.
Public announcement. Yeah.
Public announcement.
Woo!
So
Hey, where's the cheers? Where's the cheers? Yeah. Everyone.
Tristan not going to hit us with one of those fake cheers.
Yeah.
Oh, he's frowning. He's frowning.
Not in the middle of the recording.
Okay, not in the middle of the recording.
Fine.
But yeah, so come September, hopefully, if all goes well, I'll be a daddy.
Yeah, and you've revealed the sex as well.
Have I? My wife
gender.
did. Oh, yeah, correct.
Our little girl.
Our little girl.
So you'll be dad to a woman.
A woman, yeah.
So are you going to go through the whole Jay-Z thing where he renounced ever using the B word to talk about women because when Beyonce gave birth to his daughter?
I mean, I haven't made millions off the B word, so I don't think I need to renounce anything.
You're making money about your vulgarities, or you score vulgarities on this podcast.
How often I say the B word?
B word.
Not on something that makes money.
Oh yeah, I think you use it primarily as a cuss word, right?
Yeah, I use it as a cuss word.
You don't use it to describe people.
Yeah.
But you cannot use it. You still cannot use it.
But also, he said it because, he was also cheating on his wife, right? That's
and he went back to using it again. I remember.
Yeah. So it's all just PR, So no, I'm not going to renounce it.
You heard it here. And to shout out to Harish's wife also.
In fact, now,
he just said he's not going to.
6 months in, I can make her listen to Yalabat podcast already.
Cannot, it's not age appropriate.
Yeah, it was a joke, Terrence. You actually thought I was going to do it.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past you to torture your wife like that.
Just set up Reddit account, subscribe, Yeah. But so I mean, so it's gonna be fun times.
Exciting times. Exciting times.
Yeah. What about you, man?
Mine is from the subreddit. I think someone posted a question that I thought was pretty interesting. By Kwang89. Which one Shiok thing still making you shook? And Kwang89 just points out over the years we've shared a lot of one Shiok things, and which one did you take up and are you still doing or using today? So his is Long Beach Griffey, one of the earlier episodes. And to this day, Long Beach Griffey is one of the YouTube channels that he watches immediately when
solid. Yeah, Long Beach Griffey is.
But I was just thinking about that for myself. So is there any one Shiok thing that you have put forward that I still follow to this day? Can you think of any for yourself?
That who has put forward? Me, you.
And vice versa to each other.
I mean, wouldn't say follow, but I remember really, really enjoying it was the podcast with Neil Patel. No, the guy behind The Verge.
Oh, yeah.
Nile something.
Yeah.
But the podcast about why everyone should still have a website.
Yeah, Nile Patel.
Yeah, Nile Patel. I thought that was really on The Verge cast, right?
Yeah.
I remember listening. I was like, oh shit, that was a really good podcast.
Yeah.
You?
Okay lah. Some of the music recommendations, not bad. What's that? Mark Rebillet, for example. Quite entertaining.
Yeah.
Not every day but every once in a while.
It's just be nice okay?
Yeah.
First your okay is half fuck, half big, okay? Okay lah. This one not bad. Just tone it was just cool. Out there, olive branch for you to be a nice person.
Yeah. That's why I said a few. I didn't even say. I think it's.
Then you have to caveat it with it's not everyday listen.
Yeah, it's not everyday listen. Yeah. But not bad. Yeah.
Not
so
bad.
Good. So I'm actually interested to hear what other people, if there are any one Shiok things that have stuck with them or that they still listen to or what.
Quite an interesting question. What one? And some of the question which one Shiok thing still making you shook?
Shook. Yeah.
Shook. I know you shook.
Cool.
Cool, man.
And what is your one Shiok thing for this week?
So my one Shiok thing is something that I don't believe I have mentioned before, but a bunch of students, I think, came together and came up with this website called Telescope-SG, which is basically a search engine for parliamentary questions. Have you heard about it? I think it was. I think it was
in the news recently.
Yeah, it was in the news. Yeah. So basically, you can ask you can enter keywords or phrases. You can filter by MP, ministry, or date, and it just has all the parliamentary questions that were asked, which is quite insane because I know last time when we talk about parliamentary stuff, to find the parliamentary questions or PQs, you have to find the standing.
Yeah.
What's the standing?
Hansard.
Standing
Hansard.
Hansard. Or, there's the document before Parliament, right? Is it the Hansard?
I can't remember.
I
what
think the
it's called.
standing
Yeah,
order
yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
And you have to have the PDF open. But yeah, this one is like, I mean, even if I just key in now, hawker, you know, like, and the questions that come up, 109 results found. Then they have a timeline. You can download the page of results, sort by relevance. And it actually has the question and the response. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Telescope-SG. So kudos to the people behind it.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. Let me see the FAQs. What is Telescope? Why did you all build this? Who are you exactly? Some young people with too much free time. Okay. So
interesting.
So yeah, good job to whoever built it.
Cool, man. Cool. I love it when these ground up things are used to help us better understand what is going on in politics in Singapore.
Yeah, man. What about you?
My Shiok Thing is a viral music video. It came out 3 days ago and has over 30 million views now. It's Eminem back as the Slim Shady in his new song called Houdini. And I think it's awesome because it's really the old Eminem from the 2000s coming back to make a music video in the year 2024. I mean, and the video is hilarious. The video is very funny when you watch the video itself. It's a throwback to his old song, the video for his old song, Without Me. You saw a lot of references from there. So if you watch the old video, then you watch this one, you'll see a lot more. And yeah, people are loving it because it's back to Eminem being Slim Shady, right? Like just scolding everybody, scolding cancel culture, scolding everybody, vulgarities on his children and things like that. Yeah.
Wow. So one comment, 3 of my favorite rappers, Eminem, Marshall Mathers, and Slim Shady.
Yeah. So it's back to that. So it's really cool. Yeah. It's a good track as well. Yeah.
Man got tired of waiting for a worthy opponent and straight up went back in time to fight himself.
Yeah. And to feature himself.
Wallah.
51 years old, man. It's 51 years old.
He's like The Rock. Rock also 51, right? All these 50-year-olds doing crazy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow, awesome.
Cool,
man.
All right.
Awesome.
And so another podcast this week, and then we have the big live event this week. Can't wait.
Fun times. So so if you enjoyed this, please do remember to share us with someone who may not have heard of us. Follow us on social media. Leave a review or rating on Spotify if you haven't. And what's the final plug there?
To work with us, check out ministryoffunny.com. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, thanks for listening, everybody.